Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Today we are talking about why are weddings so expensive and what makes them so stressful. And I have Alina here with me. She is the CEO of Petals and Fields Design, and she also calls herself an event architect. And she's been doing this since 2016. Alina is a second generation floral designer, and she grew up learning florals through her parents' floral design shop. And she has been featured in People Magazine, Southern Bride, and more. And fun fact, everyone in her family knows how to sing or play an instrument, and they're like the Von Trapp family. Welcome, Alina.
Hello, Alyssa. It's so good to see you and be here on this podcast with
Yeah, of course. I love that you compare your family to the Von Trapps. I love the sound of music so much, and I love how musical you are, and just you're into all the arts, floral design, music, all the things. I love it. Um,
you.
so a little insight for our listeners. Alina Alina and I had lunch the other day, and she brought up this really great topic that I was like, we totally need to have a podcast episode on this. Um, she has seen some videos on social media and YouTube all about the wedding industry and the changes in the wedding industry and how weddings have become a bigger thing right now and how they're becoming just like so stressful. And yeah, Alina, I just like love for you to kind of expound on some of these videos that you've seen lately.
Totally. Um, and so, what I would say is it's been a trending conversation and a hot topic in the industry, and I totally understand why. So, I've been seeing some videos like from Brett Cooper and just a bunch of other influencers on TikTok and Instagram, and just kind of viewing one side of the person that's receiving this service for their wedding or event. And what I've noticed is there's just a potential lack of understanding of why weddings are so expensive. And I see both sides because I'm in the industry, and I have experience in that, but also just seeing the other perspective and the other side. And so some of the videos I've been seeing is like weddings are essentially just a waste of money, and there's you can spend your money better elsewhere, for a down payment for a home or all these things. And I get that, and I understand the frustration, but I also understand the idea of the sanctity of marriage. And I do believe that that is something to be celebrated, and not to say like you can't celebrate, um, let's say with or without a budget. Like I've seen, I don't know, I've just seen both sides of the story. I actually had a recent conversation with someone, actually a couple people, and we were at a Preds game, and we were sitting up in the Lexus Lounge and just got to network with some people in the industry who left the industry. And I was like, why did you end up leaving the industry? And it was because the stress of it, and how they mentioned it was like a waste of money. And I was just, I don't know, I got to pick this person's brain for a little bit, and just saying that weddings are a beautiful thing to celebrate. If you have the money to do so, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you don't have the money to do so, that's okay. But it's just, there comes a fine line between, kind of looking down on the event industry and the hospitality industry, saying that it's not worth hiring them, when it actually, there's so much benefits to that. When you hire someone who has experience and who actually can take your vision and carry it out and execute it in such a phenomenal way, you can't beat that.
Let's talk about vendors and the customer service that they offer.
Yeah, vendors, the ones that I've worked with, the ones that I trust and recommend and refer, they give the absolute best. I mean, they give it their all, to each client and vendor that they work with and alongside. So, man, they just do such a phenomenal job. Um, and that's what they're striving for, is to create that that experience, that white glove experience that you won't get anywhere else. And I believe that even during COVID, we've kind of, just looking on the grand scheme, like as at a bird's eye view on everything that's happened, I think that customer service has gone downhill, to be frank and to be honest with you. I think we need to raise the standard higher and work and hire people that love what they do, and that love serving people, because that's the heart behind everything in hospitality as a whole. So there's those vendors that do such a phenomenal job and want to do the best that they can for you. But then there's other vendors that are kind of late in the game, or just joining in and kind of are in it for the money, as opposed to, wow, I want to, create this amazing white glove experience and raise the standard for my client. So there's both, right? So you have to like use discernment on who to
Mm-hmm.
hire and work with. But yeah, customer service has gone down. I don't know. What do you think, Alyssa? Have you seen
Mm-hmm.
that? Just
Yeah.
just in the
Yeah, for
creative aspect.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are vendors like you in the industry who are very professional, who've done it for years, who give an exceptional product and exceptional service at the end and during the whole process of what they're doing. I also see a lot of vendors who are like, hey, I have a full time job and I would like to work a weekend side hustle. And maybe being a photographer or being a makeup artist would be fun to do on the weekends. So I'm going to go ahead and try it out and get a few weddings and maybe just, you know, buy some drugstore makeup or, buy a camera, a used camera that's 10 years old. I don't know, whatever it might be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And these are in the more like budget sort of vendors, which is fine. But you're really taking a gamble and you're taking a risk on the quality of your wedding when you are hiring these vendors. And
Yeah,
obviously, all vendors have had to get their start somewhere. All
sure.
vendors who are professional vendors have had that first wedding that they've done. So I'm not knocking that at all. Um, I would just more vet your vendors as much as you can. Um, Ask your venue for good recommendations on that. Go on the wedding websites and look at reviews and make sure, you are getting the quality that you are paying for in a way. So I guess that's what I would speak
Yeah,
to on that topic.
that's so good. That's so good, Alyssa. And I'm sure other floral designers can attest to this. But they keep coming back and wanting to switch things up in the quote,
Mm-hmm.
in the itemized quote, or in the floral design plan. And that takes so much time to go
It
back in
does.
and edit 15 times per your request, because you saw something on Pinterest that you want to, replicate, right? Um,
Oh my
so
gosh,
when
yeah.
that happens, I started to realize, wow, I am getting pulled away into this one client that wants everything done to perfection, and I just want to let them know, like, we're it's there's going to have to be room for flexibility. And so, well, how do you charge that? Like, when
Totally.
you want to add florals, way more florals than what you anticipated because you saw this Pinterest, and then, like,
Mhm.
second, you essentially, you have to keep going back to that floral design plan and re-editing multiple times, and you're losing time with your other clients, and you're spread thin when that happens. And so that's happened before, where I had to communicate and, like, hey, I'm gonna have to charge this is taking away from my other clients, and I'm trying to capture and, like, get your vision as best as I can. But when you keep changing it, it limits me as a designer to offer my best and excellent service, and I can't relate to my team of what needs to happen on the day of, because you want to add this super last minute. So I definitely had to change that. And then, they misunderstood it as like, oh, that's, you're just trying to charge us more extra. I'm like, no, you added additional things, and
Right. Right.
flowers, labor, the setting up, the tear down, the flip during, the cocktail hour,
Oh
all
my
of that
gosh,
plays a
the flip, yeah.
role. I mean, we had
Mhm.
sorry, I just like this idea, this thought came to my mind of we had to do a flip during a cocktail hour, and we designed um, a 900-pound floral design, like installation of
Oh my
fresh
gosh.
flowers just dripping
Wow,
down, right? But we had a it was crazy.
gorgeous.
We had a time limit, and all, like, basically all that to say is there's so much that happens behind the scenes. There was a tornado storm, so we had to stop all
Oh my
labor
gosh.
and design, go down to the
No.
basement until the tornado passed through, and then that cuts like a 45-minute, off of the design that we have to do. So we're limited, right? And again, I don't want to bombard or you know create stress to the client. I don't want them knowing any of this. Like, this is what
Right,
happens behind
totally.
the scenes, and like the prep work that it takes to create the design, re-edit, to order the flowers, hiring the team, train. Like, it's just, there's so much that goes into that, and it's a beautiful thing. I love it. I'm not complaining about it. I enjoy doing this. However, yeah, it's just, we have to have that kind of understanding and look at it in a holistic point of view, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think even going back to our original question and our topic for this podcast is why are weddings so expensive? You've alluded to it throughout this episode that you have a team of 15 or however many people working with you on that day to get those florals arranged and ready to go for everybody to come in and have a reveal or whatever it might be. And so maybe if you're comfortable, like break down a little bit of like, okay, from beginning to end, like what all are you putting into this that costs time and resources and why it can be so expensive?
Great question, Alyssa. Okay, so essentially what happens is, to streamline the process, what we do is, if the client comes to us, they book us for their event. We meet with them. We hop on a phone call first. We meet with them in person, and we have about an hour and a half, consultation, and we go into depth in detail of what their, desired florals are and their vision. So when that happens, or the planner, is booked for with the client, and then they talk to us. So they're like, but okay, so but to bring both sides of that. So when the client directly books us, it's a little bit more easier. And here's why: because we don't have to go through the interpreter, and the middle, not the middleman, but the one that's bringing in the communication, right? The
Hmm.
liaison.
Yeah.
So that takes extra time to work with planners as well, and that's not a bad thing. It's just, we want clear communication
Hmm.
to make sure we're on the same
Right.
page. And so what happens is, yeah, we meet with the client, the planner. We prefer to meet in person, with both the planner and the client, and then we go down in detail. And then what we do is I create a custom, floral design, itemized, and then we, based off of what they want, to select, I choose a team that I trust, to help design with that for the project, for the event. And I prepare them ahead of time, way ahead of time. And we order the supplies. We communicate with our vendors, with our suppliers, what we need to purchase ahead of time. Um, and you have to have a plan A through Z in case something goes downhill, which
Yes, especially
it
with
has.
florals.
Oh
Oh,
my word. So with COVID, there was a shortage of flowers, as you know. And
yes.
so I had to, oh my gosh, that was the most stressful time of my life, I think, of my career.
Oh
I
man.
cried so much, but not, I learned so much in that time frame. So my main go-to suppliers that I would go to, they were out of flowers. Like, it was a disaster. And so I prayed, and I was like, God, you're going to have to help me through this situation. And I had 4 weddings that weekend. 4. and a
Oh my
huge cake.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
And
Wow.
I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna pull this off, but Lord, you're gonna have to show up. We did. So
Yeah.
what happened was the flowers, thousands of stems of flowers got lost in the airport. And some crew
Oh,
took
so
my roses
sad.
and my flowers that I ordered, put them in a freezer as opposed to a cooler. And so they all froze to death.
No, so sad.
Yes.
I'm so sad for you about this.
But just to like kind of give you a glimpse behind the scenes of what the process entails. So I had to create a better network. I learned so hard on like so much more and better on this, like, yeah, having a plan A to Z, creating a better network with suppliers. It's so crucial. So I connected with a bunch of suppliers that I trust now and I utilize all the time, local, and sourcing out of state, out of different parts of the country and different parts of the world even, just because you want to make sure your client has no idea that this is happening and that the flowers come
Right.
fresh. Right. So you have to, once the flowers come in,
Mhm.
so you have that process of the shipping and the transportation. Now you and the team have to process all the flowers. And Curry from Curry Events talks about this too. I love her. She's amazing. But yeah, you basically have to prep
Yes.
and process the flowers, keep them alive, keep them in a cool place. Um, and no one talks about this either, but there's chemicals that are attached to all of these flowers. So you have to make sure that you're taking care of your health, wearing gloves, and not like,
Right.
yeah, there's so much that goes into the processing of the flowers
Wow.
and then designing. So you have to prep all the vessels, the foam, if you're using foam, um, the chicken wire. There's just so much that goes into that. And then the day of, you have to come in earlier to the production studio or wherever you're setting up your flowers, put all the flowers in the truck to transport and deliver. And then you have to seatbelt all these flowers and designs and buckets of flowers so that they don't
Yeah.
fall while you're transporting them, because you have to
Yeah.
replace them if they die or break.
Oh my
And I always
gosh.
order
Yeah.
extra, like way more, just because
Yeah.
I want, I'd rather be safe than sorry and make sure my client is happy.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then when we head, my team and I, when we make it to the venue and the event space, we have a little bit of time, like a small window of creating the masterpiece. And if that means that we need a scissor lift, I set out a team member to go grab the scissor lift or to bring it and deliver it. We operate in that. Of course, we have to be careful. So there's liability involved too. And so, yeah, creating it from start to finish, ordering the flowers, booking the client, designing on offsite, designing on site, and then tear down. So we have a tear down crew that comes in, and we, after the wedding, if the client doesn't want to keep the flowers, we donate the flowers. So we love doing that. It's part of our favorite thing that we love to do. And we deliver to hospice or like, hospitals. So that's been really fun. But yeah, and then we deliver the
That's
flowers,
cool.
after the wedding to donate, because that's just part of like what we do if the client wants to offer that. So yeah, that's kind of like from start to finish, and then the
Wow.
final, yeah, yeah,
It's so much. And you're doing that for multiple clients and sometimes like multiple in a weekend. And I mean, that's why I have so much mad respect for all vendors and their craft and what they do, because it does, yes, it takes so much creativity, but it also takes so much like logistic and math side of your brain as well, to run the
yeah.
business and make sure you have all the supplies and things like that. And so, yes, to sum up, if you're listening to this and you just heard everything that Alina goes through just to do one wedding, I mean, I think it completely justifies a price of the service and the product that she's providing. And all of I think that's what it is people get sticker shock but have no clue all of the behind the scenes things that a vendor actually does for them, because that whole side of it is hidden away from them, because vendors already know that for couples it is such a stressful time anyway, so like why even stress them out that like a floral delivery might not come, or like, you know what I mean, when it's like you will already have the plan Z, like you said, A through Z to make it happen no matter what kind of hiccups come along the way. So it's like, I think that is the part that is so hidden away in our industry that is sometimes hard to expose to couples when they are planning to know, because all they see is a finished product and a price tag, and they don't see this whole line of things that go into it behind the scenes. And so thank you for like outlining that, because I think that really just gives a very clear picture of what all you do. So
Thank
that's
you.
awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I just want
Yes.
people to know and be aware. And I know it takes time to educate and explain what we do, what
Mm-hmm.
I do in the industry and like in the floral world. And we love it. We love what we do. We love serving our clients. We love creating their dreams and making their dreams come true. So it's a pleasure. It's an
Yeah.
honor. I honestly wouldn't have it any other way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so awesome. And thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else you wanted to share, or definitely like share your Instagram handles and like where everybody can find you too?
Sure. It's Petals and Fields. So Petals and Fields. So I had some people like, well, it's usually the gentlemen that are like, Petals, is that Pedal, like bicycle pedal? I was like,
Like a bison. You're like, no, I'm a florist. Of course it's a floral petal.
it's petals, like Zuzu's
Nice.
petals. Yeah, so Petals and Fields, and
Yes.
then petalsandfields.com. And yeah, feel free to check out our upcoming workshops. And then we're doing
Oh,
Christmas decor
fun.
as well, and just different things for any season. We're here to do the private events, corporate, and weddings, of course. So yeah.
So awesome. Go give Alina a follow, and yeah, reach out to her for your floral designs too. So thank you so much for chatting today. I am so excited to release this episode. So thanks for taking the time. Have a good one.
Two.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to the Wedding Reporter podcast. I hope you learned a little bit and had fun today. To find more resources and podcast episodes, visit NashvilleBrideGuide.com for more information. And as always, click the subscribe button and leave us a review. Until next time, I'm Alyssa DeChico, signing off.